Welcome into Game Night. I am Derek Forrest. Joining me on the show today is Alex Flum. Always a busy day. We got a lot to talk about. Wizards have gone back and forth on the Anthony Davis situation that we'll talk about. It's also an interesting day around the NHL because it's free agency as well. But first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm good. By the way, if you want to pull back up that wide shot, we have a third seat for LeBron James if he wants to, come join us.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
If he comes to the DMV.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
It might.
I don't know. LeBron James is going to be your imaginary friend for an entire season is what's going to end up happening. That's for sure. All right. One of the things we want to talk about is NHL free agency. And you actually said, as we were getting set up to do this, hey, by the way, it's Bobby Bonilla Day for the New York Mets. Every year for the next, I don't know how much longer it goes, but they pay him $1 million.
10 more years, 5 more years.
Day.
At
I
least?
Can't even remember, but it's $1 million on this day. He hasn't been playing since the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there when he retired. You're right. It is Bobby Bonilla Day, but depending on what happens with the Washington Capitals, today could also be Alex Ovechkin Day, because it is the start of free agency, and Alex Ovechkin is a free agent currently right now. We still don't know what's going to happen with the whole saga on whether or not he comes back, and I think it all comes down to money. Here's the question, though. If another team offers him more, because now, I mean, I'm sure teams are calling him.
Do you really think it's coming down to money, though? And do you think other teams are calling him? I don't know what it's
coming down to. Actually, yes, I actually do think it's coming down to money, but not from...
Really?
I think.
I don't.
I
don't think he's worried about money at this point.
I'm not talking about him.
Oh, for the Capitals.
I'm talking about the Capitals.
Okay.
So, but what if a team, he made $14 million last year. What if a team offers him like $15 million? The Capitals are going to offer him like what, 6, 7, 8 million, somewhere probably in there is going to be
10,
the deal?
Whatever. But I think at this point, he's not going to. It's not going to come down to an extra $5 million for him at this point.
Does it?
Yeah, I really think it's going to come down to what does he actually want to do? Like, what do his wife and kids want? I think he would love his kids to see him play a little longer with the Washington Capitals. And to be honest with you, I think that combined with the fact that he's still one of the better players in the NHL is why he wants to keep playing, because he knows he can keep doing it. Why not? And he enjoys it. He loves being around the team. But, I just don't think it's about salaries for him at this point.
And it may not be. And he's like your imaginary friend, LeBron James, in the fact that he still excels at a older age compared to everybody else. He had 30 goals last year. But the reason why I say it comes down to the Capitals is because we already know that Ovi wants to play, because he's already said that. And he said that he wants to talk to his family, but he's already admitted that like his family wants him to play. I think all of those things that he was saying is telling us that it's really coming down to the Capitals and how much
it might be
and what they're willing to do. Like, do they just want to sign him to a 1-year deal? Does he want 2 years? And maybe that's why they haven't come to an agreement yet on a contract.
I think it's coming down to, because I don't see him on another NHL team. I just don't think it's possible. It wouldn't be right, in my opinion, and I don't think he wants it either. I think it's coming down to, is he going to play in Russia or is he going to play here?
Yeah.
I really think that is what the decision-making process is now. And I think the Capitals are positioning themselves to be ready for a future with or without Alex Ovechkin. But I think for him, it just comes down to which hemisphere is that happening in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a completely different example, so it's not apples to apples. But the Capitals today, they signed Boone Jenner from the Columbus Blue Jackets, who had been the captain for the Blue Jackets, was drafted by the Blue Jackets, was there for 13 years of his career, and now he's here in Washington. I'm not saying the same thing's going to... Correct. That's why I'm saying it's not apples to apples, but still a captain, still with the team for the entire time, was drafted by the team, and now he's on another team.
They also got a defenseman from San Jose.
Got defenseman Vincent Descharnais, who's an enforcer. He's going to be fighting a lot. He's going to be the one that Spencer Carberry throws on the ice anytime.
Him and Tom.
He needs something to happen for sure. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to watch the whole Ovi thing. July 1st was the date that we had circled because we were hoping maybe there was a decision by then. But I don't know. We don't know Ovi's mindset. We can only assume.
Yeah. I think he'll...
What if he's like LeBron now that he's got the free agency tag and he's like, I want to go somewhere where I know that they can win a Stanley Cup. Not to say that the Capitals
Could win
can't,
one here.
but there could be other teams that are in better position to do so. And maybe he's like, you know
I don't
what?
know. I think within the
I'm
next,
playing devil's advocate because I always do that.
Yeah.
But
I think within the next 2 weeks, we're gonna get an email from the Caps. It's gonna say, "Hey, Ovi has an announcement tomorrow. We're gonna go." This is just my prediction. This isn't official.
I hope it's not tomorrow, but
Who knows? But we're gonna go and we're gonna show up, and he's gonna say, "I'm playing another year or 2 with the Capitals."
for the Capitals.
That's my prediction. I just think he's not done.
Yeah. I don't think he's done either. All right. Let's talk Washington Wizards because what a difference a day makes. Because yesterday we were talking about Anthony Davis potentially being on the move. Now it seems like he may not be on the move. And here's the thing. The front office has never said that he's on the move. We're going off of reports, etc. And then it came out today that it's like the Wizards have no intention of moving Anthony Davis, at least in the offseason. The report didn't say exclusively one way or the other.
Yeah.
What do you think about
Well,
this?
in a week we might, or in tomorrow we might hear the Wizards are entertaining offers for Anthony Davis. Listen, NBA front offices, and Will Dawkins seems to be pretty good at this. Like, they can say one thing, it can change day to day. They don't have to tell us anything, right? Like, they don't have to leak anything. Anything they might leak, they're doing it for their own benefit. Agents, players, teams, whatever. So I think they're going to do whatever is best for this Wizards franchise. And if that's trading Anthony Davis this week or trading him at the All-Star break or never trading him, that's what they're going to do. And I think that's why I'm not really reading too much into all these updates. What I am reading into is like, okay, how are certain things that are actually happening impacting? So we were talking about yesterday, LeBron, like he's leaving the Lakers. How does that impact Anthony Davis and the Wizards? If someone, LeBron over there. If someone wants to bring Anthony Davis into play with LeBron, that gives the Wizards more leverage. It seems to be close to a fact that the Warriors want to bring LeBron and AD in, so the Wizards now have leverage over the Warriors. That's what I'm going off of. I'm not going off of the Wizards want to move Davis, the Wizards don't want to move Davis.
Yeah. I think the Wizards do want to move Anthony Davis.
I think so too.
I don't think they're going to do it, but I don't think they're going to do it in the offseason. I've always said they're going to have him on the floor, get his value up a little bit, show that he can still play, coming off an injury, all that stuff. Then you move him.
Right.
Assuming that it doesn't necessarily work out as much as they would like on the court. Because what if he plays and then this team starts 15-5? Let's just throw out a number. You know what I mean?
That'd be pretty good.
Then that changes a whole lot of things for sure. All right, one other thing we want to talk about. We got the MLB Futures game coming up next week because we also have the All-Star game coming up
soon.
Not next week, 10 days.
10, 11 days from
it's
now.
It's like 10 days.
Yeah.
But we got a guy in the farm system for the Nationals, Eli Willits, who is on the Futures game or roster this year. So that's pretty exciting for the young man.
Yeah, they'll have him and they'll have a pitcher in there. And we spoke to Eli Willits back when he was with the Fredericksburg Nationals. Talked to him about what it would mean to follow in the footsteps of guys like James Wood and C.J. Abrams and other players that have come up through their farm system. And here's what he said about his progression in the Nats system.
Keep working hard, Those guys they're great players for a reason. They work hard. They're good people. They're good players. They take care of their business the right way. I had the opportunity right after the draft to go up there and spend a day in D.C. and watch how everyone goes about their business, how they run things up there, and it was a cool experience. And those guys are great people. I'm just excited for them, excited for what they're doing, and just happy to be a part of such a great organization with them.
All right, Eli Willits having an outstanding season so far, 47 games in all of Double-A right now. He's got a .290 batting average, 12 home runs, 50 RBI, 35 stolen bases, and an OPS of 947. So he's doing some work right now.
Yeah. And, I think it's exciting just the fact that the Nats are playing the way that they are. And, he's a very mature player in the minors. They expect him to be good when he gets up there. Just adds on the excitement. I'm excited to see him in the Futures game.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be fun, and you'll actually be
Yes.
there in person
Can't
to
wait.
see him in the Futures game. All right, coming up on the show, we're going to check in with the Mystics. Alex caught up with Sonia Citron earlier. We're going to hear from her coming up next on Game Night. Welcome back into Game Night. Derek Forrest alongside Alex Flum and our imaginary friend LeBron James, who is hoping to sign.
We're going to keep going with this bit the whole show, aren't we?
Well, you know, I'm committed at this point.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the Washington Mystics because they're one of those teams that, again, still trying to find their footing on the season. A young team. They're currently 9-9. They have the last playoff spot currently if the season were in today. But they feel confident about where they are.
Yeah, and you watch them play. They've gotten into some battles this season. This past week, they played Portland on Sunday. 4 overtime game, tied for the longest game in WNBA history, which the Mystics were involved in that other one as well. Sonia Citron hit 2 big buckets late in that game. Had to talk to her about that. Here's what she had to say at practice today. Here's our conversation.
Let's start with that 4 overtime game. Crazy night, crazy game. When you go into that first overtime, second overtime, and then you're getting into the third and the fourth, I mean, what's going through your mind as this game gets longer and longer?
Yeah, I mean, definitely getting tired. Mentally just thinking, like, what is going on? Like, we have to kind of just come together, stay strong, stay tough, and do whatever we can to just finish it. Like, obviously, every OT that went on, we were like, all right, this is the time. But it wasn't, you know, next time. Okay, this is it for real. But it was fun, yeah.
All the way back when you were first playing, I mean, when you were a kid, have you ever been in a game that long?
Never in my life, no.
Do you hope that you're not ever in a game that long again?
Probably not, no. But, I mean, we came away with the win, so that was the best part. And it's definitely something I'll remember forever, which is cool. So.
You hit 2 huge buckets in the final minute, I think it was. When you're that exhausted, I mean, how much will did it take just to make that happen at the end?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a team effort. I got a great screen. I got a great pass from my teammates. So I think, you know, as a whole, we were able to just put the game away. But, yeah, I think obviously it's mental toughness more than it is physical because at that point everybody is tired. Everybody's body probably feels terrible. But just who's mentally tough, who runs the right things and executes, and we were able to do that. So.
You guys have been in some exciting games, a lot of overtime games, a lot of games coming down to the final seconds. How much do you think that helps you guys grow as a group to have these experiences?
Yeah, tremendously. I mean, I think you don't really learn until you go through things like that, especially with a team so young. We have so many rookies, so many, you know, everybody knows we're a very young team. And I think the best way to learn is by going through stuff like that. So I think the games earlier on in the year where we went into OT with New York or Indy, I think all that just, you know, is helping us just gain more experience, learn by going through the fire, and that's all going to make us better in the end.
You got Atlanta coming in here. They're having a great season as well. How do you prepare for a game like that and that team that's, you know, kind of been having a spark so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless of who we play, our preparation stays the same. You know, we focus on us and what we can do better, and then obviously we have a scout and our coaches do a great job at that, but our preparation really stays the same. We know they're an amazing team. We have to take care of what we do, you know, try to make it hard for them, and yeah.
I don't know if you remember your first days in Washington. I kind of asked you who you were most excited to play against. We talked a little bit about Sabrina Ionescu and how you kind of grew up watching her. Now there's girls growing up watching Sonia Citron. They can't wait to get in the league and play against you. How does that make you feel just to know the progress in your career from that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about that in terms of, you know, people looking up to me. Obviously, I hope that they are, but you never know. But it's definitely a great feeling, you know. I think just the way I looked up to Sabrina and other players, like you just want to be a role model and, you know, just show the right things. So, yeah, I hope that I'm doing that.
All right, so you were just asking her about people she's looked up to, or she's been talking about people she's looked up to. Her and Kiki Earthen, especially, only in their second year. I'm curious what it's like for them. They've already become the leaders on this team. They've been asked to do that in year 2, and I wonder how they're really, like, transitioning into that.
Well, you know, early in the season, I was kind of asking them, you know, after a really tough home opener, you know, what, you know, how do you feel like you're taking on this leadership role? And you know, Kiki was pretty confident about it and saying, you know, we've been in these positions. We're not underestimating ourselves. And and they're confident. And they're going out there and trying to win. And the fact that they're so young and having the success they are, let's just see how it continues the rest of the season. But, we'll see what they can do this year. But I think next year could be really special for the Mystics, especially too.
Yeah, we will see, and we'll see how this season pans out. Again, they're in really good position to make the postseason. It's still a long season, and as we talk about them becoming leaders for some of the younger people underneath them as well, these rookies, there's still a lot of growth for them as well.
Yeah.
So coming up on the show, we're going to hear from Danny Rouillet. We're going to get his take on the whole Anthony Davis situation. That's coming up next on Game Night. Welcome back into Game Night. Derek Forrest. Earlier today, I caught up with Danny Rouillet, and I talked to him about the Anthony Davis situation. Yesterday, it looked like he might be on the move for a couple of guys. Today, we're hearing, well, he's not going to be on the move this offseason. I want to get Danny's take.
I change my mind on this literally every single day. I don't know the answer. What was reasonable to me was kind of what I call the CJ McCollum plan, which is he's here for a few months, enhances his worth, and then that turns into a nice deal for everybody involved. They were talking about the Wizards, the playbook that Oklahoma City laid out of the distressed asset acquisition phase, right? To go with your own assets that are positive. Maybe someone's going to be here, maybe they won't, but you're trying to figure out what you have, right? So you take the distressed asset and you hold on to it, you increase its value, and then you hopefully trade it at a profit in some way, right? Where you get back different set of picks than maybe you used to acquire Anthony Davis or a player that you like or whatever. It's kind of the general pattern of things. So I've assumed all along that he was here to be traded. But the more you hear, the more it sounds like maybe not. Maybe he's here to be here. Maybe they want to give him a max extension. Maybe Will Dawkins really does love him. Who knows? But I would have said a week ago, yeah, he's getting traded. It's just a matter of when. Now, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, now we have this rumor, well, slight rumor, right, about LeBron wants to play with AD. What if LeBron comes here? I don't think that's going to happen. My question for you is, are the Wizards done now making deals, and are we going into the season looking at this current roster that they have?
No, I think there's as my 1.5-year-old right here wants to be part of this. You can see the top of his head. He's very interested in the Wizards too. I think there's a move or two to be made. I think it's now back of the roster type stuff. I think it's probably another big man, somebody that can maybe help in free agency, somebody that's readily available. I'm not talking about a huge difference maker, but somebody to come off the bench and everyone would probably start an awful lot. The pitch to this person would be Anthony Davis. He's going to miss a ton of games. Alex Sarr has a track record of missing some games as well. You will get plenty of minutes as a key figure here, coming off the bench, etc. And, that would kind of be my idea, is that they would find another backup. But I think in terms of wings, in terms of guards, this is the group.
I wanted to get your take. Obviously, there's a lot going down with the Nationals and the Red Sox right now involving Cade Cavalli, Wilson Contreras. I mean, he hits the home run, game one, first inning, goes crazy. Things were said yesterday. Cade Cavalli comes out, apologizes. Just what's your take on everything that's kind of gone down the last couple of games?
Yeah, I hate that Cade Cavalli had to say anything. I find it absurd that he apologized for any reason at all. To me, this was a case of somebody in Wilson Contreras' case who acted the way he did. It's he didn't commit a crime, nothing illegal. But you pimp a home run, you take 14 seconds to get to first base, and you're going through all the histrionics. You throw your bat 50 feet into the air. You take, again, as I said, 14 seconds to get to first. You then run across on the third out. You basically run right across the infield in Cavalli's way over the course of, I think it was at the end of that first inning last night. He didn't throw at him. Cade Cavalli didn't buzz his tower, didn't hit him in the head, didn't do some of the things that old school baseball guys would have done. He struck him out and demonstrated back. He said something back after, a couple different things that happened, right? So all he's doing is responding in kind, not even close to what Contreras did the night before and even into that game. So now all of a sudden, Cavalli's the bad guy, which I find insane. And by the way, I'm able to take off my Nationals hat here and call balls and strikes on this thing, no pun intended. The situation's reversed. I always said this. For example, go back to the then Redskins and Kirk Cousins screaming, "You like that, you like that, you like that" at everybody. I said, that's fine. You're going to hear that again, though. When they lose, people are going to be screaming, "You like that" in your face. That's the point. If you want to act brashly, if you want to draw attention yourself, if you want to make a big production out of the home run that you hit, you earned it. Congratulations. you need to expect something in return at some point. If you can't take it, then I would suggest not doing it. As much as I dislike Bryce Harper, he was all over this years ago, even as a young player. If he was asked about, I think it was then the late Jose Fernandez celebrating in a major way when he would strike him out or something like that. Bryce said, "Yeah, it's pump your fist, do your thing. Just know that I'm going to do it if I ever get you for a home run." I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of the deal to me. So that's the way it should go in my mind. And Boston folks acting like victims, I think it's unbearably soft. I think it's what the Yankees and the Yankee fans used to do, where they walk around puffing their chest out. They're the bullies. Then something happens negative, and it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then you pretend to be an aggrieved party. I think it's pathetic. I think it's ridiculous. And I hated the fact that it seems we're in a place where Cavalli had to come out and apologize. I found that absurd. I was so proud of him as a fan watching him dominate last night. That gets lost in this story. Is that he threw the best game of his life on the road, adverse environment, with a guy that kind of made it personal in Contreras. And I wish that was the tale. Instead, now we're talking about the reaction to a reaction when a guy's excited in the heat of sports. This is not the office place. This is not HR statement. This is not the place where people are taking all the different trainings we do via HR to make sure that we don't harass our colleagues. This is pro sports, competitive at the highest level, and a guy chirps you chirp back, and now all of a sudden people can't believe it. So that's where I'm at.
Welcome back into Game Night. Derek Forrest alongside Alex Flum and our imaginary friend LeBron James. And the only reason why I bring it up because we are talking LeBron James at the end of this show because Francis Tiafoe talked about bringing him to the district. He won last night or today in Wimbledon versus Ottman, correct. And in his post-game interview while he was on the court said they need to bring LeBron to the district to play with AD and AJ DeBonza. What do you think?
Good job, Francis. Everybody's recruiting him. Have you seen all the colleges posting? AU posted him, UMBC posted him, GW posted him. That's why I made the joke. We're recruiting him too.
I saw an independent baseball team in Cleveland, the Lake Erie Crushers, put him in a Lake Erie uniform and said, "Come back to Cleveland and play baseball."
It's great.
Yep,
everybody wants LeBron
for sure. All right, well, that's gonna do it for another edition of Game Night. For Alex Flum, I'm Derek Forrest. Have a good night.